All right, welcome back to LAK Sports. Joining me is Hope Hurricane Chase. She is an MMA fighter who is fresh off a win back in May of 2026 over Kathleen Wilson. So thank you for taking the time and welcome to LAK Sports.
Hi, thanks for having me on, Luke. It's great to be here.
Hey, no worries, no worries. So like I said before, you're fresh off a win last month with Kathleen Wilson. How are you feeling physically, mentally, and just overall?
Feeling great. Yeah. Kat Nelson was a really tough opponent. I kept trying to finish her, but she was a tough one. Um, yeah, I'm doing well. I came off of the fight with just bruises, so not really any injuries. The very next week, I actually flew out for a tournament in Texas so that I could compete to try to qualify for Team USA for the United World Grappling the Grappling Worlds that's going to happen in Europe later, and I
Mm-hmm.
won. So yeah, one right after the other.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's gotta feel good. Not only being able to compete at something like that and then win as well. So
yeah, yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to the competition. It's going to happen in October. They haven't announced the dates yet, but yeah, that was awesome to have that opportunity. So even though it was a week after my fight, I'm usually resting the week after my fight, but I just
okay.
jumped back into training there so that I could be ready.
I mean, how fortunate was it for you to be able to have your fight not too far from home?
It was amazing. It was so cool because I got to have the hometown crowd,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of my friends and family coming out, and even people from my sport karate days. My old sport karate team came out, so it was a very special moment to have that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you brought up karate. I want to talk about your karate career for a second here. So, you've accomplished so much in the karate before the MMA. What moment did you realize that you could make that serious run in MMA?
Uh, well, the moment that I decided I would make the serious run in MMA was I watched the moment I watched Gina Carano versus Chris Cyborg. Because
Mm-hmm.
before then, I was a fan of MMA before. My dad had us started in karate by the time I was 4 years old. So I was living it. And I was already kind of thinking, you know what, I'm pretty good at this. I could make a career out of karate, right? Um, and so, but I thought that MMA was just for guys until I saw that fight. Then I was like, no, 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 that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the MMA. So yeah, I just never doubted it from the moment I decided when I was a kid. I was like 11 years old,
What
you
kind
know?
of karate
Yeah,
were you
10 years old, 10
practicing?
years old. Tung Sudo. Yeah. I like to describe it as Korean karate. Not Taekwondo, but not Shotokan, like right in the middle.
Okay, nice, nice. I practice in Shotokan, so there's that. Now let's talk about you. You know, your 20-time karate champ. That's just incredible. But how has that background shaped you as the fighter fans see today?
One of the things that's pretty unique about the karate that I pull into the MMA, it's not just the dynamic kicks and the techniques, but
Hmm.
it's that intensity that you're trained in whenever you're performing in the sport karate. Really, that the intensity that comes with the inner control. That's really like one of the parts that symbolizes why I'm a hurricane is because outside it's a storm, but on the inside it's centered. So that's what I try to
Hmm.
emulate whenever I'm in the cage. So yeah, I think that that's one of the most unique pieces.
Is that kind of where your nickname came from, or was there another story behind it?
Yeah, Hurricane did come from my sport karate days. So I was training with my dad in the garage, and I was practicing. I do double nunchucks as well. So I was practicing for a performance with double nunchucks, and we were trying out a new move, and I wasn't getting it. But eventually, when I did get it, my dad was like, "That's it, that's it. It was great. It was like a hurricane. That's your name now. You're Hurricane Hope from now on."
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now, did recently you've got in your recent win? What did you feel in that fight? Tell you where you're at in your career right now.
with that fight, what it told me in that about my career, I feel like I'm ready to step up to the next level. I'll take as many fights as I have to here now, but I'm really looking forward to. I feel like I'm ready to step into like the UFC and compete actually against those girls because I watched their film and I think, yeah, I could face that. I could face that. It's not something that's just super far ahead of me now. I feel like it's just a matter of facing facing a couple more opponents, getting some more highlights, and then I'll be in that UFC roster soon.
Well, with you and your team, have you kind of discussed opponents that potential opponents that you feel I don't want to say build a name off of, but opponents that you feel you get the win over them that really cements not only your record but it also cements the legitimacy behind your skill set and the potential you can show in a bigger organization like the UFC.
At this time, I just take whoever will sign the contract with me because I get a lot of girls who turn me down all the time. So I take what I can get, and whenever I can get it, are usually really tough girls because actually they're always tough girls because otherwise they wouldn't actually sign up for the fight against me. Um, yeah, I always think they're either really crazy or they're really good. So, and if they're both, then it makes just an amazing highlight reel for me. So.
Now, when you look at yourself and where you're at in the career, do you feel that you've hit your prime yet, or do you feel like you're just getting started?
I feel like as far as physical prime, I feel like I'm stepping into my physical prime now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that'll last for a long while. I see a lot of um fighters up at the top that dominate whenever they're in their like about 30, 32 into like 38 and they're very dominant. But even I have a lot of inspiration from people like Chris Cyborg, who's like 41 right now, and she's still the most dominant woman out there. So yeah, I feel like I got a really long run ahead of me, and I feel like as far as skill, I'm better than I ever was.
Mm-hmm. When you look at all these ladies who the longevity that they hold, uh, sometimes, and maybe this is a little biased, but you typically see a lot more women have the longevity over some of the male fighters. What do you why do you think that is?
I think that part of it might be because taking care of ourselves a little bit better outside of the cage. Um, just yeah, like we have a little bit more of a nurturing nature, so it's a little bit more like, okay, yeah, I have to do this to take care of myself too. But as an athlete, I will tell you that's like one of the parts that I do struggle with as far as pushing myself, super easy. Taking care of myself, I've just finally started to like really learn that, but I think that might play a factor into why women end up having that longevity.
Mm-hmm. And then let's talk about adversity. I think every fighter's had faced adversity in their career. When you look at your own career so far, is there ever been a challenging part of your career, and how did you overcome it?
Uh, well, one of the hardest part of my career was the time that I had to step away from it because in 2020 I had two fights with Invicta FC and I was on a run, but in 2021 I got really sick and I had to step away from training. I literally had to stop training in order to let my body heal.
Mm-hmm.
I had some problems, compounding problems with I have celiac disease, and I started developing a lot of different food intolerances, and I was having leaky gut, so I wasn't processing any of the nutrients that I was putting into my body. And my body just started breaking down. It just could not keep up with the demand anymore. But yeah, I had to take 3 years off of MMA before I was able to step back in. But in 2024, I was able to get back into it. So
Yeah, for sure. And if you were to speak to, a young lady, maybe in some kind of martial art form, who would like to get into MMA, what's the best piece of advice you would give her?
My best piece of advice for a woman trying to get into MMA, one, find a gym where you're gonna have people who will push you and somewhat around your size. They can be a little bit bigger than you, but that's good. But you want to have as diverse a martial arts skill set as you can, because it is MMA. It is not just kickboxing. It's not just karate. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
grappling. If you are missing any one of those factors, it's a piece of your game that somebody will take advantage of you in the ring. So get as diverse a background in multiple martial arts as you possibly can, and find a good team.
Mm-hmm. And you've already talked a bit about your aspirations. Obviously, UFC would be the goal. So when you look at the rest of 2026, clearly you want another fight, maybe a few fights. But do you think by the end of the year, are you setting the goal of maybe reaching like the Contender Series? Are you looking to get into the UFC right away, like, or another bigger organization? What's in store for Hope Chase?
I feel like UFC has the highest skill set in my weight division, the bantamweight division. So that's where I want to go. As soon as I can get into the UFC, I'm going to take it, whatever route that is, whether it's taking a fight in the Contender Series, or running through where if I have to be a last minute replacement for somebody, but whatever route it is, I'm going to take the quickest route to the UFC, because my goal is to not just win the championship and be it. I want to be the UFC bantamweight champion of the world, and I want to dominate from the top for as long as I can.
Well, and opportunities don't come often, but they do present themselves at great times. For you, I don't know where you walk around at, and that's obviously none of my business. But whatever weight you walk around, do you try to keep yourself in some kind of shape, just so if the opportunity does come knocking, you're like, "Yep, I'm ready to go. I can cut X amount of pounds in a week's time."
Yeah, I typically train 5 to 6 days a week, depending on how the intensity of the week that is. And I'm always close to weight. I'm always eating well. I staying healthy. So if somebody gave me a call and said, "Hey, someone wants to fight you on next Saturday," you know what? I might have to really work to make it, but I will make that weight. And I just keep myself in a zone where I'm ready to go whenever someone calls me.
Mm-hmm. And to conclude this, Hope, when your fighting career is over, what do you want people to remember about Hope Chase?
I want people to remember, whenever my fight career is over, that I put my best out there, and that I represented God to the best of my ability. I'm a Christian, and that is the foremost part of my identity. People know me for the MMA, but I'm known first by the father as his daughter. So that's what I want to shine the most through, is that I put my best out there, and I showed for God.
And any show sponsors you have, the time is now for you.
All right, so I want to shout out to my team, Indio Dojo, and my sponsors, GRM Contracting, White Viper Martial Arts, White Belt Black Coffee, Independent Financial Service Group, Archangel Defense, PA Fitness West, U Powered, Oh My Dear Pulling Team, and Tara Daly and Family.
Excellent. Well, Hope, it was a pleasure chatting with you for the first time on LAK Sports. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this. I know that you're training and you're training lots, so I do appreciate the time that you've given me. And ladies and gentlemen, keep your eyes out for Hope Hurricane Chase. You do not want to miss her fights. I'm sure you have an action-packed year ahead of you for 2026, so good luck with your future endeavors. Love to have you back on and chat again. So until then, good luck with everything, and we'll talk again soon for sure.
All right, thanks, Luke.